On tonight's Thronecast, women on the warpath. Sansa finds Jon, but vows to be her own saviour.
I'll do it myself if I have to.
And if she fights Ramsay for Winterfell, who else can she count on?
Time has come to join the fray.
Joining us is Kate Dickie, a.k.a. Lysa Arryn, the sun-suckling mother of a guest, who always steals a scene. Your watch begins. Sue Perkins, also known as Middlefinger, and welcome to this Thronecast. Well, stab me in the neck with an apple corer. What a show that was. Jon and Sansa reunited after all this time away. And, like we all do with a friend who we haven't seen for years, they talked about how good the soup was. Cersei's got her resting bitch face back after suggesting that she might remove the High Sparrow's supply of millet, and Theon encountered that awkward moment when you realise that your sister has seen your willy lying severed in a box. Joining me tonight is a lady who could easily work out whether a 7-year transitional period leading to non-slavery measures would be a good economic deal or not in the long term. It's the wonderful Rachel Riley! I am spent after that.
That was such a good one.
It was, wasn't it?
Massive crowd pleaser. It was just like cheering and emotion and everything.
Did you do a cry?
I almost cried. When Stanza's there and that moment when she saw Kit, oh my God, Jon Snow. That was emotional. It was, wasn't it?
I did a little tear. I did.
I was just...
They have waited since the first episode.
And it was both like
to have that
seen ghosts for the pair of them.
Quite literally in the case of Jon Snow, as he's now newly alive again. Now, there are some people who don't like receiving online messages. George R.R. Martin, for example, never, ever tweeted me back after I sent him some fan art of me and him in a Dornish whorehouse. Never heard a thing. We, however, at Thronecast love getting tweets, so please send us all your thoughts and opinions. Just remember to hashtag them up to the gills with GOT Atlantic. Time now to welcome a woman who caused an occasional raised eyebrow in the Westeros NCT group, plus she's had a little finger in her moon door, something we all dream of. It's Lysa Arryn, a.k.a. Kate Dickie!
Probably the best, I was going to say opening, but that's maybe wrong, I've ever had.
Very glad to hear it. And factually correct, of course. Now, of course, we're very, very keen to talk about how your charming little boy turned out. First of all, though, yes, there are issues there. I think they're
There's a
breastfeeding.
few issues with it.
Yeah.
I know.
We'll come back to that. Let's deal first with Daenerys, the unburnt Targaryen. Now, she wiped out the entire Dothraki powerhouse tonight. Did you see that coming?
Yes. Well, I didn't see that. I saw it, but I didn't see it
saw
coming.
it, Kate. Yeah.
She's so strong and confident.
Yeah. And what I love is just the whole kind of arc of her story of kind of everything she's went through, and now she's taken power again, which is brilliant.
She's come an awfully long way, hasn't she, from being hawked around by the beggar prince, her brother, to this, standing in the flames with a Dothraki horde kneeling in front of her.
Yeah, what I love is she never takes power. She just gets it through respect because she's just kick-ass.
Yeah, she's
totally kick-ass.
She's so strong, as you say. She never has to take in. She just is.
I tell you what would just be the one thing that would make her perfect, and that's fire-retardant clothes. Because you just always think, oh, my God, the power, oh, she's to be nude again.
But it's just like, she's a woman. She's a proud woman.
For
she's
sure.
not trying to be a man. She's doing her own thing, and then she's got her stuff and she's standing strong.
She is amazing.
And that's what's great about all the women in Game of Thrones. They're not the fairer sex as such, you know, it's like...
Particularly this series, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. The strength of Sansa, we'll come back to that in a minute, but there's newfound strength of Sansa. But I mean, what's interesting for me is that now Daenerys, she's a Khaleesi again. She's basically running... She's got hundreds of thousands at her disposal, but keen to get back, obviously, to Marine, her power base. What do you think the Dothraki army will bring to her kind of fame and her potency?
just that extra strength and kind of power that they've got, you know. I mean, they're really scary.
Yeah, I mean, they've got numbers, they've got history, they've got horses.
I love the fact you've gone back to numbers.
Back to numbers.
It is
it's always
numbers,
about,
though.
it's a game of numbers in Game of Thrones. It's how many men have you got, how many horses, how many...
I did think that about this episode. I thought it was no... they never put anything by accident. Everything's there for a reason. I thought they named the amount that they had in each army. We know that Ramsay's got 5,000. Right. We know that there's 2,000 of them.
I know.
I mean, Khal Drogo had 40,000.
Yeah.
I think it was, something like that. So she commands all of the...
Yeah.
Oh, it's too exciting for words.
Yeah, it is too exciting.
They put her in a corner, she got burned, and she has managed to do all of that without a dragon.
I know.
When she gets them back. It's really building, isn't it?
What's going to happen?
I literally know as much as you do.
And I love that the two guys came in, you know, white knights in shining armour to rescue her, and she kind of went, all right, great, I'm glad you're here. I'll just do it myself.
Yeah,
and then you can escort me on my way.
Exactly.
That
you
was
can
a brilliant
maybe come along for the ride, you know.
That was very true, actually. They set themselves up and said, we're going to sort this out. So by the time they get there...
OK, fair enough, well done. Will bow.
Do you think that now she's got the army, she's got her own personal power, do you think she could scorch her way all the way to the throne, to the Iron Throne?
Yeah.
I mean, who could go against her?
I don't know, and I wonder, like, who could cross her and actually win now. I think she's got real power, you know.
Especially with Tyrion on her side at the moment, because that unites a few other of the pawns in the game.
And you see what a brilliant speaker he is, and what a great negotiator he is, you know. Like, he's always relied on his power of his words and his speech to get him out of so many...
brains, beauty. Yes. They seem to have the full package, don't they?
Yes, they've got everything.
And you talked about Dario and Jorah, who sort of, you know, have been pursuing her to try and save her and, you know, slightly behind the beat there. But Dario now knows that Jorah's got grayscale.
Yeah, I know, and that's scary, actually, for Jorah, because it gives him power over him and just that, you know, just someone knowing, basically.
Yeah. But do you think he's going to keep the secret in? Do you think, or do you think he'll tell Daenerys, look, Jorah's contaminated, he has grayscale, he mustn't go near him?
I think he'll tell.
But I think they're both on the Khaleesi's... I think they were both on her side, so I don't think he would want to do anything that would hurt her anyway. So even if she found out, what would she do? You know, just not touch him, which he doesn't want to touch her anyway. No,
I mean, he's still slightly in the doghouse, to be fair. But, of course, all Jorah wants is to be just touched by his queen, you know.
Yeah.
Interesting where his eyes went here. Just see that.
Yes, did notice that.
Dario's eyes are down. Just saying, you know, my queen, my Khaleesi. He's thinking, hello, sailor. By the way, if you want to learn a little bit more about grayscale, you can either phone NHS Direct...
I've got some good cream I use at home.
Or you need a very strong emollient for grayscale. Jamie East has invested so much in this show, he actually contracted grayscale. I said gayscale. I'm happily owning that one. It's not contagious, don't worry. Grayscale, he's going to explain all on our Twitter page after the show. Back in Marine, you touched on that, Kate. Tyrion is trying to keep the peace using diplomacy.
Yeah.
He's given the slave masters 7 years to abolish slavery. Bit generous, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
What's your feelings about that?
Well, I don't think Tyrion really gets what it's like to be a slave, so he thinks 7 years is a good amount of time, and it's a lifetime for slaves, so he's kind of not... You know, I
think he's made a bit of a faux pas there.
Yeah.
I think because he's dispassionate, because it's not his people.
Yeah.
He's trying to broker peace, and he's trying to do the right thing by the Queen, but I think it is just too long. He didn't speak to them beforehand. Yeah. At least they know that they kind of think he's trying to do the right thing. They don't think he's trying to play them. Yeah. So they're willing to go along with it and cooperate, but I think he needs to listen to them more.
Oh, he needs to listen to them more, and he needs to kind of also understand what it's like, a slave's life, you know, the reality, which he just doesn't kind of get, you know.
No, you've got Missandei and Grey Worm just there, just horrified.
Yeah.
The fact that, you know, he's playing politics with what for them are principles.
Yeah, and people that they've just like, you cannot trust them, you know, and I don't think he gets how sneaky and sly
I think he does learn. He's always he picks up on stuff, and he's quite book smart, isn't he? So he's probably just not dealt with this kind of thing. He's dealt with King's Landing and a totally different set of etiquette and rules.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think he's going to have to learn some lessons.
Yeah, the Marine way, the hard way.
Absolutely. The hard way.
I mean, back in King's Landing, it is action stations with his family, and it looks strangely like the Tyrells and the Lannisters are going to put aside their centuries-old differences to try to fight the High Sparrow. Can Can that possibly work?
I don't know.
Well, I think, you know, when one of the Manchester teams plays Liverpool, we unite against the Scousers. I think it's the same thing. It's your enemy's enemy is a greater
I think there are
evil.
lots of people who are going to be slightly razzed up by the...
We can go back to, you know, Everton, Liverpool to United, whichever way around you want to do it.
Yeah, no, you know, those factions, you can cut them in different ways.
Yeah, I mean, it's blood, yeah.
And it's keeping your enemies close, isn't it? So that you're all coming from the same point. But is it going to work, or is it just something in theory that's great, but will they actually be able to work alongside?
There'll be double, triple, quadruple crossing.
Oh, for sure. And the thing is, I think you're absolutely right, is the sense that when there's a status quo, those two great families can fight each other. But as...
the second it's done.
Yes, and she was saying, oh, I'd rather it was them than us, so it's suddenly rich against poor.
Yeah.
So it's suddenly get rid of the faith militants and we can carve the rest up. I've got a slight feeling that Cersei is not that invested in getting Marjorie back.
just a tiny instinct. I don't know what makes you feel that.
Yeah,
yeah.
I just think that in that hostage situation, she won't be too sad if they go awry.
But everybody, surely everyone in the entire world is against the High Sparrow, except for his little troop.
His little.
I mean, I hate him.
Gang.
I really hate them all.
Listen, I like some of his moves. I like what he's got to say about poverty and feed the world. Put some shoes on. It's annoying. Really getting on my nerves.
The whole speech, I know, and you're like, just put shoes on your own feet.
Just a loose sandal. Yes. Time for a break now, but join us in a few minutes when we will be delving further. Oh, hello, Vera. Hey, darling. Thanks very much. Cheers. See you later. New postman. Lovely. To the traitor ambassador Sue Perkins... yeah, that's fair. Blah, blah, bastard. Called worse. Dogs will devour you. Fine, like dogs. Blah, blah. Have you been missold PPI? Junk scroll. See you after the break. Thronecast. Now, much talk tonight of who has the North, who wants the North, and who's fighting to hold on to the North. But what do we know about the North, apart from the fact that, rather conveniently, it's situated north? Why does everyone want it so much? Well, for more information, let's go over to a man whose surname, rather helpfully, is East. Here's Jamie.
The North is both the oldest and largest realm in Westeros. It ranges from the swamps of the Neck to the Wall, which protects Westeros from the threat of the White Walkers.
The North is larger than the other 6 kingdoms combined.
It's a cold land and far less fertile than the warmer climes of the South, and has snowfall even during Westeros' long summers. The bastards of the North are given the name Snow to reflect the region's frosty climate. Though the North is currently ruled by Ramsay Bolton, it's traditionally the Starks who controlled the province. Legend has it that the North was established 8,000 years ago by Bran the Builder, the founder of House Stark, who used giants and the Children of the Forest's magic to construct the wall as a shield against the White Walkers. The Starks ruled the North until the Targaryen conquest, where King Torrhen Stark surrendered without battle and became known as the King Who Knelt. Whilst no longer king, Torrhen Stark was still allowed to govern the region under the title Warden of the North. Torrhen was the last king in the North until Robb Stark took up the defunct crown once more and briefly ruled as king.
There sits the only king I mean to bend my knee to. The King of the North!
The people of the North are descendants of the First Men and, like them, worship the old gods of the forest. Winterfell has its own godswood, which houses their sacred weirwood trees. They've also kept the customs of the First Men, such as the belief that the man who passes the sentence of death must swing the sword himself.
But do you understand why I had to kill him?
Oh, where's the old way?
Northerners place great importance on hospitality, which they call guest right. They believe that a man may offer no harm to a guest beneath his roof, nor a guest to his host. The guest right is often invoked by the symbolic sharing of bread and salt. And it was the Northerners' respect for the sanctity of the guest right which made them totally unprepared for the actions of the Red Wedding. The Boltons are one of the oldest families in the North. They warred with the Starks for centuries and were said to wear cloaks made from the skins of Starks they'd captured and flayed. They eventually bent the knee and swore loyalty to the Starks until they betrayed them at the Red Wedding. There are many other notable houses in the North, the Mormonts of Bear Island, the Umbers of Last Hearth, and House Reed of Greywater Watch, and whoever wants to hold the region will need to gain their support. As the battle for control of the North rages on, only one thing is certain: winter is coming.
Thanks, Jamie. Cracking intel, as always. Big, long-lost family-style moment tonight. And, of course, we touched on it earlier, but Jon Snow and Sansa reunited. Fair to say they weren't close when they were first at Winterfell. What's changed now? I mean, it was a very touching scene, as we said.
It was a beautiful scene. I found it really emotional, and you suddenly thought about all their journeys that they'd separately went on since they saw each other. And I got to the point, I was like, even their noses look the same. They look the same. So, but yeah, no, apart from that, it was just lovely to see them reunite, even though they were talking about how much they fought as kids and that, just that family.
Yeah.
Being together
Just safety,
again.
wasn't it? Somewhere where I mean, neither of them could have felt safe for so long, especially Sansa.
Yeah.
But for me, it was the first time seeing her actually grow a pair.
And smile, like properly smile.
Well, Jon, resurrected Jon.
Yeah.
He smiles now.
I know.
Death has done
And
wonders.
that beautiful skin as well. I'm like,
well.
what do you use? I want some.
Yeah, he just rubs himself in the cold, icy wall every morning. It really tightens the pores up.
It is
But
that.
you're right, though. They have... I mean, Sansa particularly has been on such a...
Horrible.
Awful, painful, difficult journey towards sort of maturity at the hands of, you know, a psychopath.
Yeah.
She's, as you say, grown a pair. I mean, she's really, really strong. And actually some serious fighting talk tonight about retaking Winterfell.
And she felt, out of the pair, it was her that was really leading it, you know, and you suddenly thought, oh, Sansa, you've went from, you know, all your experiences have really made you. You can see everything making her who she is today, which is really exciting.
A real Stark, actually.
Yeah.
Until that moment, she was a bit of a sheep for me. She was a follower. She did what everyone else would say. She was following Theon, and then she was following Lady Brienne.
And
she was just doing what everyone told her.
Stuff. I know, and you just see this strength coming out
She's
of all her
angry. She's a
experiences.
woman scorned.
She is, but there's a control still. That's what I love about Sansa, is that even though she's suffered, she's not sort of... Well, not obviously vengeful. She's still got that logic, and she still wants to pursue truth and justice. Oh, I'm loving this.
That's got to be the bravest thing to do, to go back to the place and to go back and see Ramsay after what he did and what she's seen.
Yeah.
Surely that would be the last place she'd want to go.
Can they do it? Can they retake Winterfell?
Well,
with the wildlings and with Littlefinger intervening and...
But then with her being so strong as she is now, you really see this steely under thing going on with her that you think, wow, you could really do what you like now, you know.
It's interesting how, as we said earlier, the women really started to come into their own in this series. What, of course, turned Jon's mind about fighting, or not wanting to fight, was that letter that turned up from Ramsay Bolton, who also murdered Osha tonight, as you do. I was very sad about that, actually. They now know that Ramsay has Rickon.
Yeah.
Will they come and see, or will Ramsay head north to come and get them?
Gosh,
What's going to be first?
Oh, I don't know.
If it was me, I mean, you wouldn't sit around waiting for
No,
Ramsay,
you would not wait
wouldn't
for him to come.
send bits of him back.
And also, if you were waiting for him to come and get you, you would die of fright. You're best, if you're that dealing with someone like him, you're best just to get there and face him before... Because he's so...
And Sansa knows what he's like, as you say. You don't, and she knows what he can do, and the idea that he would mutilate Rickon
And
in
to
the
leave
same
your
way.
brother there, you just wouldn't, would you?
Well, we're going to turn to our audience now. As always, the arbiters of taste and judgment. I'm going to ask them who's going to win in the fight for Winterfell. The Boltons or the Starks? You have your sigils? Hold them in the appropriate fashion. What do you reckon? Oh, that is looking pretty much unanimous for House Stark.
It is.
Well, we're all full of joy and enthusiasm, and everything happened that you wanted to happen in that episode, so I think everyone's
thanks, guys. That's a resounding victory.
That's a good victory. I tend to agree with the audience as well. I just feel
It's a long game, the Game of Thrones. I think there will be many battles that will take place between perhaps those two houses, but I hope at least we see the beginning of the end of Ramsay, because
he's hideous.
But then once he's gone, we'll miss him. We're still talking about Joffrey.
Exactly.
What's wrong with us?
That's the thing, you do love the characters that are so heinous.
What was weird about that scene was he was peeling an apple and leaving the skin off, and then he killed her, and then he peeled a bit of skin and ate the skin. What's that about?
He's into the skinning, isn't he? He likes his skinning.
He likes to flayed an apple.
Even apples are in the skin.
I know. What really upset me was I was very immersed in the scene, and then I suddenly thought, oh, no, health and safety. You've got your red board for killing people, then you've got your green board for vegetables. That was what I was... But you're right, the continuity of that was... Maybe he hadn't finished peeling in totality,
he does what he wants. He peels the skin, he eats the skin, he does what he likes.
Yeah,
chucks the apple away.
That's
He's bolted now, he can eat whatever part of the apple he likes. Like.
You're right. I love the fact that's what we took from that scene. We're still to the bloodletting we
well,
go.
That's a good way to go against him, isn't it? If I was going to be up against Ramsay, I want a knife to the neck.
Oh,
quick.
Gosh, yeah, that was quick.
Oh, it's still... Oh, it upset me. Another man with his eyes on Sansa, as we've said, is Littlefinger. Saw him for the first time in this series tonight with delightful... Your fault. Delightful little Robin Hood. Littlefinger said tonight he's going to join the fray and try and save Sansa from the Boltons. Seeing he's the man that married her off to Ramsay in the first place, do we think he's really got her best interests at heart?
Definitely not. He's absolutely the only person's interest he's got at heart is his own, for sure. He is so awful. I may be slightly biased, but yes, he's awful, and you know, I mean, even if he didn't know the extent of what Ramsay was going to do, he knew exactly what he was doing when he sold Sansa, or did the deal with Sansa.
Yeah. You touch jealous? I mean, life's obviously
just
issues
a little
with
bit.
Sansa. Huge issues.
Huge issues with Sansa, and yeah, apart from Sansa looking like Cat, even more beautiful than Cat, and Liza, yeah, was filled with fury and jealousy.
And we know what happened next. You ended up in this position.
You kissed Peter.
I didn't. You don't understand.
I saw you. You can't lie to me because I saw it with my own eyes.
He kissed me. I pulled a
liar. He is mine. My father, my husband, my sister, they all stood between us and now they're all dead. That's what happens to people who stand between Peter and me. Look down.
I'm going to move away.
I know. That's a hell of an intense headlock.
Yeah, that was an intense scene to film. We did that all day, and
What, you had poor Sophie in that headlock all day?
She is amazing. Apart from that, the amount of lemon cake she ate for the lemons cake scene we did, and
this isn't going to impress me. Of all the people...
Listen, I love a bit of lemon cake, but oh my goodness, like take after take, and then I mean, I really was gripping the back of her neck and shoving her as hard as I could. Take after take after take. She's amazing, so professional.
She speaks very, very fondly of you after that.
It's your family's answer to everything, isn't it? Just chuck them through the moon door.
I know, and I went home and my child and my partner like, oh, you're not sleeping with us. I'm like, I'm nice, I promise. But, yeah, no, they were a fantastic support that day because it was a hard scene to film and intense, but so much fun.
For you.
I know, and she needed to go, you know, and she did. But what you're seeing now is the legacy Liza's left behind, which is Robin, and he's a horror.
Well, I'm sorry, there are reasons for that.
I know.
You know, I'm saying that formula exists for a reason. You don't have to breastfeed until they're 10 years old.
Oh, gosh, well, see, it just shows how good my milk was, because he's... He's grown into a nasty psychopath. But how could he not? Because I taught him all he knows, which is you have, like, you know, a spontaneous fit. You kill someone if someone says no. How dare you?
From us. Remember, when choosing a present for your mate, 2 heads are better than 1. If you don't like it, no biggie. You can always re-gift.
Mistakes will be made.
Thank you, Your Grace. Thank you, Thank you.
Take the head.
Pardon me, Your Grace. I would take it, if you don't mind. It could prove useful for my work.
Sometimes it's worth bending over backwards to get the right prezi.
My lord, I don't...
She's here to thank you for being a thoroughly respectful fellow.
If you suddenly realise you've forgotten to bring a present, just improvise.
Who are you?
I am the gift.
Well, at least it's not socks again. OK, I think we've got time for just a few tweets that have come in. Let's see what you all think out in the Twitter sphere. Hello, thank you very much, darling. See you later, Vera. Just a little further in the eye. Right, OK, tweets plenty at Ferg Hotmar. Says, Kate, what was the hardest scene that you had to film in Game of Thrones?
Oh, well, I think probably the first time we did, Lino and I did breastfeeding just to sort of deal with the whole issue, and it was slightly awkward, and we got the giggles, actually, and ended up really laughing as they were going and turning over and about to action, and Lino and I were, like, literally shaking my laughter. So that was probably quite awkward as such. Yeah. More than difficult.
There was a scene where you had to... also, I seem to remember where you were asked to make sex noises.
Oh, and, oh God! Oh no, that was worse. Yeah.
I'm glad I got that right.
Yes, you're right.
Thinking, what if I just made that up? What would that say about me?
Oh, yeah. When I had to do the sex noises for Liza after her and Littlefinger get married, and they were to be out there, really out there, but we kind of ran out of time at the end of the day, so we got to the end of the scene and they were like, so we just need to do the audio of the sex. I was like, yeah. They're like, well, just do it here on set. And I was like, on set? No. In front of everyone. And they were like, well, just, you know, and I was like, OK. So I just had to stand in front of all the cast and crew, and I think I turned my back because I was so embarrassed.
Oh, no.
I just had to stand and be like, oh. Just standing there, and yeah, oh God, that was difficult.
We've run out of time, sadly. Time, however, just for this, a weekly treat. And so, you know, in order to get hold of this, I had to burn all the HBO leaders in a tent and then emerge nude to a disbelieving horde. Anything for you lot. Here is a glimpse of next week's show. Ooh.
Sansa.
Did you know about Ramsay?
Does death only come for the wicked and leave the decent behind?
Who makes a claim?
I claim the Salt Throne.
Knowledge has made you powerful, but there's still so much you don't know.
Bran, wake up!
That leaves me just enough time to thank our magnificent guests, Rachel Riley and Kate Dickie. We'll see you next week when we'll be joined by Lauren Laverne. For now, I'm off to fireproof the Dothraki village. Excuse me 1 second. Trip hazards, do not put oil on steps. Absolutely elementary. Fire placed in a wooden structure. Test smoke alarms. Do not bring curved swords to assembly points. They will cut off legs or worse. Good night, people.